If you love games with deep stories, unforgettable characters, and emotional moments that stick with you long after the credits roll, this list is for you. From stealth missions in the jungle to horror in deep space, these are the story-driven masterpieces you absolutely need to experience on PC. Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater. Let's start with a legend reborn, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater. This isn't just a remake, it's a full reimagining of one of the greatest espionage stories in gaming. You play as Naked Snake, a soldier sent into the dense Soviet jungle during the Cold War to rescue a scientist and stop a nuclear threat. But what starts as a mission quickly becomes a personal betrayal story that defines who Snake will become. You'll sneak through rain-soaked forests, camouflage yourself in mud, hunt animals to survive, and face off against bizarre and unforgettable bosses. The bond between Snake and his mentor, the boss, is one of the most emotional in gaming history. The remake rebuilds every detail in Unreal Engine 5, making the story more immersive than ever before. Dead Space Remake. Welcome to the nightmare aboard the USG Ishimura. You play as Isaac Clarke, an engineer answering a distress call that turns into pure horror. The ship's crew has transformed into monstrous necromorphs, twisted creatures born from an alien relic called the Marker. As you navigate the blood-soaked corridors, you uncover a conspiracy that goes far beyond the ship itself. The remake brings new voice acting, updated story elements, and atmospheric lighting that makes every sound and shadow feel alive. It's not just survival, it's a descent into madness where the scariest thing isn't the monsters outside, but what's happening inside Isaac's mind. Firewatch. Now let's slow things down with Firewatch, an emotional, first-person story game that proves you don't need combat to keep players hooked. You play as Henry, a man escaping his broken life by taking a job as a fire lookout deep in the Wyoming wilderness. Your only contact is Delilah, a woman on the radio who becomes your lifeline and your emotional connection. The entire story unfolds through dialogue and exploration as strange things begin happening around your tower. Is someone watching you? Is it paranoia? Or something else entirely? Firewatch is a masterpiece in subtle storytelling, making you feel every bit of loneliness, beauty, and human vulnerability in its 2-hour journey. Dragon Age, Inquisition. Step into a massive fantasy world torn apart by chaos. You are the Inquisitor, the only person capable of sealing rifts between worlds after a cataclysmic explosion destroys peace across Thedas. You'll lead armies, form alliances, and face gods, demons, and political betrayal. Every choice shapes your path, who you save, who you sacrifice, and what kind of leader you become. Each companion, from the witty rogue Varric to the mysterious Salas, adds emotional weight to the journey. With branching dialogue, moral decisions, and a story that changes with you, Dragon Age, Inquisition is a masterclass in storytelling, world-building, and character-driven emotion. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Next is Resident Evil 2 Remake, the gold standard of how to modernize a classic. You play as Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield, two survivors trying to escape the zombie-infested Raccoon City. What begins as a survival story turns into a dark conspiracy involving the Umbrella Corporation and bioweapons. The game's dual campaigns give you two perspectives of the same horrific night, packed with cinematic storytelling and heart-pounding tension. Every corridor feels dangerous, every encounter pushes the narrative forward. And the emotional bond between Leon, Claire, and little Sherry adds a layer of humanity that hits harder than ever with modern visuals and sound design. It's survival horror storytelling done perfectly. Days Gone. Set in a post-apocalyptic world, Days Gone follows Deacon St. John, a drifter biker trying to survive in the ruins of Oregon after a deadly virus turns people into terrifying creatures called freakers. But beneath the chaos lies a personal journey, Deacon's search for his lost wife, Sarah. You'll scavenge for supplies, upgrade your bike, and face massive hordes of infected while exploring an emotional story about love and loss. The world feels alive, the danger constant, and every ride through the wilderness feels cinematic. It's brutal, beautiful, and deeply emotional, a game about surviving when everything else is gone. Spec Ops: The Line. What starts as a rescue mission quickly turns into a descent into madness. Spec Ops: The Line follows Captain Martin Walker as he leads his squad into a sandstorm-devastated Dubai. But as the mission unfolds, the line between good and evil begins to blur. This isn't your typical war shooter. It's a psychological journey that challenges your morality and questions the cost of war. The story hits hard, showing the consequences of every action you take. By the end, you're not just fighting enemies, you're fighting your own guilt. It's haunting, unforgettable, and one of the most thought-provoking games ever made. Yakuza 0. A wild, emotional roller coaster set in 1980s Japan. You play as Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima, two men on opposite sides of the Yakuza world, both trapped by honor, loyalty, and survival. Beneath the flashy lights of Tokyo lies a tale of betrayal and redemption that hits like a punch to the heart. Every cutscene is packed with drama and intensity, but between the fights you'll find joy. Karaoke bars, dance battles, hilarious side missions, and heartfelt moments that humanize these gangsters. Yakuza 0 balances chaos and emotion perfectly, proving that even in a world of crime, there's room for humor, love, and loyalty. The Wolf Among Us. Step into the shoes of Bigby Wolf, the sheriff of Fabletown, and the reformed Big Bad Wolf. This noir-style adventure takes fairy tale characters and throws them into a gritty modern world full of corruption and mystery. When a murder rocks the community, you must uncover the truth, making choices that define who you are, the monster people fear, or the protector they need. The dialogue is sharp, the atmosphere is haunting, and every decision branches the story in unexpected ways. The Wolf Among Us mixes detective storytelling with emotional weight, blending fantasy and crime drama into something unforgettable. Ghost of Tsushima. Now one of the most cinematic games ever made, Ghost of Tsushima. You play as Jin Sakai, a samurai whose island is invaded by Mongols. Faced with impossible odds, Jin must decide between following the honorable code of the samurai or becoming the ghost, fighting with stealth, deception, and new methods to protect his people. The story is emotional and full of moral struggle, exploring what it truly means to be a warrior. Every location is breathtaking, every duel feels personal, and every side quest adds to Jin's evolution as both a hero and a man torn by duty. It's not just a game, it's an emotional journey through Japanese history and honor. Mass Effect 2. A sci-fi epic that redefined player-driven storytelling. You return as Commander Shepard, resurrected by the secret organization Cerberus to stop a mysterious alien threat known as the Collectors. But the real strength of the story lies in your crew, assassins, scientists, soldiers, and outcasts. Each one has their own loyalty mission, their own scars, and their own story to tell. The decisions you make, who to trust, who to save, who to romance, determine who survives the final suicide mission. It's emotional, intense, and filled with moral gray areas that make every choice feel personal. Mass Effect 2 isn't just about saving the galaxy, it's about building a family in the face of impossible odds. Alan Wake. A chilling psychological thriller that blends horror with creativity. You play as Alan, a best-selling writer struggling with writer's block who travels with his wife to Bright Falls, a peaceful town hiding dark secrets. When she disappears, Alan finds pages of a horror novel he doesn't remember writing, and the events on those pages start coming true. Armed only with a flashlight and his mind, he must battle shadowy figures and uncover the truth behind the darkness. The storytelling feels like a TV show, mysterious, suspenseful, and emotional, with each episode ending on a cliffhanger that keeps you hooked. Alan Wake isn't just a game, it's a haunting story about creation, loss, and the thin line between imagination and madness. So there you have it, 12 story-driven PC games that prove video games can be as powerful, emotional, and cinematic as any movie. Whether you're sneaking through the jungle, exploring haunted ships, or chasing truth in the dark, each of these titles delivers a story you'll never forget. If you're looking for games that feel like an experience, not just a challenge, these are the ones to play in 2025.